So now I do get the privilege of introducing my colleague, the honorable and amazing, one of the most infectious people I've met, Mayra Flores, who is the first Mexican-born female member of Congress in a groundbreaking special election in 2022. We're lucky now to have her as a senior fellow at Texas Public Policy Foundation. But a little bit of background on Mayra. She was born in Tamaulipas, Mexico. She came here legally when she was 6 years old. She grew up working the cotton fields in Memphis, Texas to earn extra money for school clothes and supplies. And after graduating high school in San Benito, Texas, Mayra earned a bachelor's degree from South Texas College. She's also a proud U.S. Customs and Border Protection wife. Please help me welcome today's closing panel moderator, the Honorable Mayra Flores.
Isn't this country worth fighting for? God bless Texas and God bless America. Only in America can someone like me be in the position that I am in. It really feels like a dream. Coming from Mexico, I really never thought that I would be here with you. And I remember thinking about running for office. And I remember telling people that I wanted to run for office. And a lot of people said, "You can't, you were born in Mexico." And then I Googled it. And Google said that I could. And I did. And became the first Mexican-born congresswoman ever elected in history. So thank you for making that historic win. It was because of you. It was because of you. I have accomplished the American dream, and I want to make sure that our kids also accomplish the American dream. And I want to thank all of you for your love and support, and I'm truly blessed to be a part of this incredible team here at TPPF. God bless you. Texas is a wonderful place which we all call home. We all want to make it better. We want to make it the freest state in the country for ourselves and our families. As we all know, Texas is a big state with many different people. Hispanics not only make up an impressive 40% of the state's population and growing, but have been a crucial part of its foundation and building. Whether they descended from one of the original Tejano families or are legal immigrants like myself, Hispanics are vital to the future of Texas. For us to achieve our goal of seeing Texas as the freest state in the country, we need to reach out to the Hispanics beyond identity politics, but as fellow Texans that share our mutual concern about the education for our children, high property taxes that we all have to pay, and the protection of our borders. As someone who came here legally at 6 years old, I want every child to have my experience. I don't want no little girl to go through abuse and trauma, because that's exactly what is happening in our border. Children are being brought illegally into our country to be exploited and to be sold into child sex trafficking, and that is the reality. That is why it's so important for us to focus on legal immigration, because illegal immigration is funding the Mexican cartels that are destroying my home country. And I came here to this country for opportunities, for freedoms, and I don't want it to become what I left. And that is why I fight for this country every single day and for our state. I've always said, thank you. I've always said that I believe in God, family, and country. Dios, familia, y patria. And I am excited to have 3 individuals that share these values. State Senator Pete Flores, come up here and join us. State Representative Janie Lopez. And State Representative John Lujan. Texas Senator Pete Flores was born in North Dakota and was raised in South Texas, graduating from Laredo Martin High School and then attending Laredo Junior College before transferring and graduating from Texas A&M University. Woo! Senator Flores spent most of his career as a Texas game warden, serving the state for 27 years and achieving the rank of colonel. Wow. In this capacity, Senator Flores was responsible for a $60 million budget, 27 field offices, 127 civilian employees, and 532 commissioned Texas game warden with a statewide operational scope. Senator Flores was the first Hispanic Texas game warden colonel in history. Senator Flores honorably retired from the state service in 2012. And by the way, we're not related. I've been asked that so many times, but sometimes I say yes, just because I'm so proud of him. Senator Flores won a Senate seat in a special election in 2018, becoming the first Hispanic Republican in Texas Senate, and again in 2022 to serve Senate District 24. He lives in Pliston with his wife, Elizabeth, and has 2 beautiful daughters and 2 grandsons. Please help us welcome Senator Pete Flores. Also, our amazing Janie Lopez, and I say our because she's from South Texas as well, and her win was honestly my win as well. We're so proud of you. Janie Lopez is a daughter of Mexican immigrants and was their first born in the USA. And she's 7 siblings, right? A part of 7 siblings, amazing. She graduated from San Benito High School. I also graduated from San Benito. Go Greyhounds. Woo! I'm telling you, everything out of San Benito is good. I'm telling you. Don't listen to what they tell you. And became the first in her family to attend and graduate from college with honorary awards with 2 master's degrees. Truly the American dream. Janie has experience working in various industries, including food services, healthcare, manufacturing, and education. She's worked as a teacher, school counselor, and the director where she managed millions of dollars in counseling programs. She served as a Gear Up counselor in Bronzeville ISD, lowest performing campuses, and helped transform it into a high-performing school rated #1 for science and #2 for history with state exams in the district. Congratulations. Under her leadership as the director of the San Benito ISD, students achieved an increase and disciplinary referrals were reduced by 66% in elementary schools. Currently, as a small business owner and mental health provider, she serves clients throughout Texas. Beginning in the year of 2020, as the San Benito ISD Vice President and Chair of Finance and Administration, she was instrumental in increasing the police force for school safety, decreasing taxes, and providing pay raises for all employees while ensuring quality education and exemplary extracurricular activities. In 2022, she was elected as the first female Republican in South Texas to the Texas House of Representatives representing House District 37, which includes Willacy County and part of Cameron County. During the 88th Texas legislative session, she was appointed to serve on the Environmental Regulation Committee, the Juvenile Justice and Family Issues Committee. As a member of the Texas House Republican Party Caucus Aerospace, Texas Conservative Caucus, and House Water Caucus, Janie advocates for better infrastructure, safety in our schools, resources for mental health, border security, increased school funding, and funding law enforcement. Thank you for joining us, Janie. Representative John Lujan was elected in 2016, represents House District 118 in Texas House of Representatives. He is the first Republican to be elected from the district. Representative Lujan was re-elected to serve Southern Bexar County in November of 2021. Lujan serves as a member of the Higher Education, licensing and administrative procedures, and healthcare reform committees. He also serves as a member of the Advisory Council on Cultural Affairs. Representative Lujan was born in San Antonio, where his mother was a local public school principal and his father was a Southside minister. He learned from his parents at a young age the importance of serving for others. After graduating, Lujan served the San Antonio community for 5 years as a deputy in the Bexar County Sheriff's Department before accepting a job with the San Antonio Fire Department, a position he held for over 25 years. While serving as a firefighter, he worked closely with elected officials at all levels of government to advocate for additional tools and training for the first responders to help them better serve their communities. Today, Representative Lujan is a business owner who helped grow a small local IT firm into a thriving business that employs over 550 people in the House District 118 community. John and his wife, Frida, have been married for 38 years and live on a small ranch in South San Antonio. They are proud parents of 5 boys, 3 of whom are adopted. Representative Lujan volunteers as a board member with Southside Cardinals Youth Sports League and is a Sunday school teacher at Southside Baptist Church, where he attends church. Truly the American dream. Applause. If someone is telling you that the American dream doesn't exist in our country, I'm here to tell you that we are the American dream. And every single one of you as well. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for fighting for our amazing state, for our country that it's worth fighting for.
Amen.
Our children are worth fighting for. And people before us fought for us to enjoy the freedoms that today we enjoy. It's so important that now we fight for the future of our children. So we're going to jump on a couple questions and would love to hear your thoughts on these questions. To illustrate that Hispanics are just fellow Texans, I would like to start by asking you to tell us what brings you to the legislature and what are the top issues that concern your constituents. We'll start by State Representative Janie.
Thank you, Congresswoman. It's a pleasure to be here with y'all today, and I'm so proud of our Congresswoman and her achievements and her being a role model for not just South Texas, but for a lot of women across the United States. One of the reasons that I felt it was very important to run for office is because of the inequities that I saw in our school district as a former school board member, and wanted to be that voice that our kids deserved in our communities and fight hard for them and protect them as well when it comes to indoctrinations and other things that might come into the schools that might affect them. And seeing what was happening at the federal level also, where there's a fight against our freedoms and our values. My parents, coming from Mexico, as you heard, taught us to respect our country, to love our country, appreciate our freedoms, and thankfully, Texas is one of those states where we can enjoy the free enterprise system and we can decide to be whatever we want to be, right? Whether you want to be a stay-at-home mom or if you want to get a doctorate degree, it's up to you what kind of life you want to live. And I feel that it's important for us to continue to protect those freedoms, like the TPPF said earlier also, that we have to think about the future, the generations to come. What are we going to do for the children? And years from now, what are we giving them, right? And I used to tell my constituents, we don't want Texas to be like California. We have to defend Texas.
You want me to go next? Yeah, well, I decided to run. As you heard my story, I'm a small business owner. I ran in 2016. I got involved with the party. I became a precinct chair, and we'd have meetings and complain. And we just complained and complained and complained. And then we had a special election, and everybody, and I said, man, we got to find somebody. And somebody said, you're the guy. And he came to me, he goes, I found the guy. He goes, you got to go look at the mirror. That's him. And so I did, kind of naive, I put in, didn't really think I was going to win because it's always been held by a Democrat. My seat had never been held by a Republican in the history of Texas. And I won. I won the special election. And then the general election came, and I didn't win the general election. And then it just went away for a while. I was never planning on running. I got a life. I'm running a business. I have kids. I'm in church and I'm in all kinds of committees. I'm just having fun in life. And then this special election came up again. And I would not have ran, but God has a way of doing things, because my wife is against me running. And I was at home, and this gentleman right here calls me, and we were planning to go into Galveston. We were going to go to an IT conference. I have an IT company. And he calls me, and we're packing, my wife and I. And he goes, Leo Pacheco's resigning tomorrow morning. Nobody knows. You're the guy. I'm in Austin, and we're talking to a bunch of people. You're the guy that needs to run. I said, Senator Flores, I'm just not going to run. And my wife looks up, and she goes, no. I said, I'm telling him no. What are you talking about? I'm saying no. To my wife, I was saying no, and she's telling me to say no. That didn't make sense. But anyway, so I told him no. We get in the car, because my wife's against it. So we drive into Galveston. So early in the morning, Chamber of Commerce calls. Man, the word just came out. You've got to run. Well, my wife's a captive audience. She can't go anywhere. She can't leave the car. We're driving to Galveston, and I can't talk on the phone. It's illegal, so we have it on Bluetooth. So she's hearing one phone call after another. There are a lot of you folks in here calling and calling. By the time we got to Galveston, a miracle had happened. She goes, maybe you should run. What? I was okay. And even at that, even though I had permission, then I was reluctant. Like, do I run? I don't know, because it's rough. Oh my God. And I didn't want to be a footnote in Texas history, the only guy that could win special elections but never win a general, right? And I didn't want to be that guy. And so, because I had my picture up in the house, and everybody's picture there, and mine's up because I was special election, right? And I said, I'm going to have 2 posters like that. I didn't want that. But so we ran real hard, and you know, you got to kind of watch what you wish for sometimes. We won, and I just praise God for that. And it's been a good ride. It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Well, I guess thanks TPPF for inviting me to be here. My relationship with TPPF goes way back, and in working back in the 86th and now even in the 88th, we're working on some issues together, and hopefully get some bills passed that are very important for Texas. But to answer your question, it's I've always been in public service. My father was Air Force, career Air Force, so we were served all over the world, and Daddy taught us about, that service is important, being honorable and doing the best for your community, and provided those strong values. I was family of 10 kids, so I was the middle kid, but you can imagine trying to bring mom and 10 kids all over the world, but still the glue that binded us together was the glue that persisted throughout time. I'm 63 now, and it's still the same glue, and that is, you honor your God, you honor your family, you honor your country. And so service is part of that. And service is honorable. And so if you have skills, if you have abilities, you have experiences that you can bring in service that help all boats rise, then it's almost your duty as a person to your community and to your state and to your country to be able to bring them to bear and do the best you can with the limited time that the good Lord has given you on earth. So that's kind of so my story of getting into politics, I guess I served as a state game warden for 27 years all over Texas, and served here in Austin as the colonel game warden, and learned my chops at the legislature, served with Chairman Angelo's leadership at one time during my career, and that's where I learned how to work with the House and the Senate. I knew Governor Abbott since he was Attorney General, and Governor Patrick since he was a senator, and I had relationships with Democrats and Republicans in both chambers, and everything kind of works together to bring you to a certain spot if you recognize it. So when I retired in 2012, I went back to Pleasanton, where I lived when I was captain in San Antonio, and they said I was approached by citizens that had heard me speak and said, you know, we'd like you to run for the Senate. And I thought, well, run for the Senate? You know, that costs a lot of money, organization. You know, a senator, I was thinking maybe, you know, I would run for something, you know, more reasonable and community-oriented, like Justice of the Peace or something like that, you know. And, you know, don't do that anymore, mijo, stuff like that, you know. But the senator that was in place at the time was Carlos Oreste, very powerful. They're from the south side of San Antonio, always won by 33 points, which was that San Antonio spread. Well, he was being investigated at the time. And the first time I ran in 16, I got trounced. It was like 33 points, you know, trounced. But, you know, and I didn't have any money. You know, I raised like $27,000 for the whole year. But me and my old big red truck, we went everywhere. There's a saying in Spanish that says, la cara hace milagros, FaceTime makes miracles. It's the same thing I did as an officer, and if you do it in politics, you do it in any endeavor, when you show up and you're present, and that it does make miracles. Well, I lost, but I said, well, I got 97,600 votes. I never got that many votes in my life, you know, but I continued to work it because as an officer, I knew it was going to happen, and it happened. Senator Oreste ended up going to the penitentiary. And a special election, openings happen, you know. You just got to be ready to seize the moment. Yeah. And so I ran again in the special election. There was nine people, and this is, of course, a Senate district that was about 62% Democrat. It was designed that way. It's always been that way. But we ended up, if you all remember that election, it was historic. We won it by 7 points. Amen. And it was I became the first Hispanic, or the first Republican senator to represent Senate District 19 since the Civil War. But I was following the steps of John Lujan, who had done the same thing in 118. You know, and that's how when we were working in the early days together. So where I'm going to make is that, you know, I didn't hold on to the seat in the general by 3 points. So generally, it was a 33-point spread, and we lost by 3 points. It was a head-to-head. Now imagine that, a Republican in a Democrat district running in the polls head-to-head with a Democrat. So that in itself meant that we had made great progress. Amen. By showing up. Amen. And by being present and by reflecting the needs of all the community. That's right. And that's what we have to do. And Newt Gingrich wrote about that campaign. He called it the campaign of big ideas, which meant that we needed to concentrate on the things that are important to everyone, that show that while those things that are important to everyone are done better under Republican governance. And that's the message that works, my friends. But there was a libertarian in the race. That was 4 points. I lost by 3 points. But the good Lord works his ways. And, you know, you may lose battles, but you'll win the war. You just got to stay in the fight. And it ended up that I said during redistricting, Don Buckingham vacated 24 to go for the land commissioner, which is our land commissioner will make a great one. She's a wonderful senator and be a wonderful commissioner. And so 24 was a very predominantly Republican district. I entered the race for that. We won a very hotly contested primary, but we won that by 18 points, and then won the general by 64%. So I can say that I've won in a Democrat district and I've won in a Republican district. And I just got to hold it. But the thing is, you know, I got the service it's about service. It's about serving everyone. I have the honor to serve, you know, 960,000 people. That's what every senator more or less serves. But we want to serve every one of them. And that's why I'm there. Some of the top top issues in the district I represent is the rapid growth that's occurring in the rurals surrounded from the urban areas. So you have infrastructure needs, quality of life, public safety, you know, water. These are all things that are important. You know, we often fail to plan adequately for our success, and that's kind of the story of Central Texas, is failing to plan adequately for the great success that's occurring here. So that's one of the big issues. Border security and public safety is another one. and of course the all-encompassing property tax issue. So I'll stop there.
Well, I believe that your everyday American needs to run for office because we understand the struggle, what it's like to live paycheck to paycheck, and y'all are an example of that. So thank you for running. I'm so glad your wife gave you permission. So glad, God bless her. You give her my thanks. Now for a hard and perhaps uncomfortable question. Are prejudice and discrimination still a major concern among the Hispanic community? Do you think non-Hispanic Texans view Hispanics as Texans? And do you think that Hispanics view themselves as Texans?
Are you asking me first?
Yeah.
Okay. You know, I think we have to do it on both sides. I don't like the race card, but man, it's there. And I'm going to give you an example. Right when I won my race, I get a call, so I won the special, so we're getting ready for all the general stuff. I get a call from Governor Abbott's office right away. He wants you down in Harlingen. He's going to be there. He wants you to introduce him. And I told my wife says, hey, you going to do that? I said, I don't want to do that. She says, why? I said, he wants me because I'm brown. I said, when do you go get a white guy? And, what's it? So I'm throwing race into that, right? And I hate to give my wife so much credit because, I'm a Hispanic. We're machismo guys. I do run the family stuff. But I do listen to her. But sometimes I don't listen to her, but I do listen to her because she doesn't know that I'm listening. But anyway, she tells me, she says, God's given you this platform. He says, why are you going to complain about it? She goes, maybe you're saying, I said, be quiet, I know what I'm doing, So anyway, I go to bed, I get up the next morning, I'm taking a shower, I'm getting dressed. I said, you know what? That's true. I'm here, and God's given me this platform, and we're supposed to spread the conservative movement. I said, why am I being a baby about it? So I ended up flipping that around from not wanting to go to I went to Brownsville, I was in McAllen. You would think I was running for a state office. I was everywhere, and I was in the 118, just Bexar County, but I'm all over Texas. Anytime Texas Latino Conservative Group was going to put a panel to talk to Hispanics and conservatives and recruit them to running, I was there. And I was in every single spot. And just to let you know, I love that. You guys are the Hispanic heritage. I have that too. But I was grown in San Antonio. I lived my whole life in San Antonio. So I'm Tex-Mex. I can understand all of Spanish. Speaking it, I'd be arrested if I went to Mexico, right? They would arrest me abusing the language. But, as a firefighter, if I had 2 or 3 white guys with me, I did all the Spanish. I didn't care. They couldn't understand me anyway. They didn't know if I was correct or not, and I could do it. But if there was other Mexicans there, I said, oh, boy, I better be careful because they're going to see my mess-ups. But it was an opportunity that we had to share it because, man, the conservative values are strong in the Hispanic community. In my family it is. We just need to get out there and share that message. And I'll finish with this. The last thing is my mom runs a ladies group, a prayer group, and she's got about like 30 ladies, and they're all elderly Hispanic ladies. So everything's Tex-Mex, back and forth, Spanish, English. And they'll ask my mom, because my mom's the leader there, and they'll ask and they'll talk more on the Democrat side. My mom goes, no, I like it because this is what we stand for biblically and everything. And my mom cracks up, and an old lady will come to her, Yolanda, I think I'm Republican. Yeah, you are. And then, so that's how we do it, not by being ugly and in their face, but just showing that love and then showing what we walk by. And then before we came in here, you and I talked about this. This is another important part that I want to get over, is that when we have Hispanics come into the Republican Party, you can't start judging them, well, they used to vote like this, or they used to, because that's a huge turnoff for the Hispanics. So we've got to embrace and accept that because that's going to move forward our conservative values. And we're moving in that right way. Things like this, these panels, super, super important. When TPPF asked me to speak, 100% yes, I'm going to speak because I want to get the message out because we need to know that we need to be reaching out to the Hispanic community. And when they join us, not be so condemning like, well, you used to vote Democrat. When I ran, I had a picture with me and Julian Castro because I was a firefighter. And right away, other Republicans, oh, he's a rhino. We were discussing firefighter issues. It was an old picture, but yet using that against me. And, and funny thing is, I didn't convert from the Democrat Party. I could first vote in 80. I voted for Reagan. I've been a Republican all my life. But yet I was still saying, oh, he's Hispanic. He was probably Democrat before. We got to stop that rhetoric and just embrace.
Amen.
Yep.
Amen.
That's one of the things that I don't like also when, you know, on the leftist agenda, they're using the race card on us. I see it as we're all here because we love our country, we grew up here, we have the same values as conservatives, and I am testimony of being able to accomplish many things as long as I set my mind to it, even when I lived in Georgia, where the population back then was 99% Anglo and maybe 1% Hispanic. And there were many, many opportunities when I worked in different industries up in Georgia, and they offered me high-paying positions, supervisory positions, simply because I was bilingual. And so I don't feel that as Hispanics that we are oppressed or that anybody should be using race cards on us. I think that it's just that we have the same conservative values, and that's what unites us, no matter what color we are or what race we are. And I personally can say here at the Texas House, I've been embraced by everybody. Everybody has shown me a lot of love. They've welcomed me, and other representatives from all over Texas say, Janie, we're here to help you be successful, because they know how competitive our seat is in South Texas and how difficult it's going to be to keep this seat as well.
Thank you. Well, folks, you know, knuckleheads come in all varieties.
Amen.
The key is to not become a knucklehead ourselves. And we don't want to, you know, we need to always remember that our national motto is E pluribus unum, out of many one. We are out of many one. The folks that just are commemorated, that happened just during the last few weeks, and the Alamo was mentioned. The folks that fought at the Alamo included the descendants of those defenders in Pleasanton, Texas, the Esparza family, who fought on both sides of the wall. But they came from everywhere and fought at the Alamo. It was not just Anglo; they were French. They were Mexican. You know, my mother's side of the family has been in Texas since Texas was Spain. So, but my grandfather came as immigrants after the Mexican Civil War, because great-grandpa got on the wrong side and had to come to Texas. But we have, so to say that the Hispanic population has been in Texas for over 350 years. Just testament to that is the missions in San Antonio, which the descendants of the Masons that built that, or the Weezer family in Pleasanton, who built those missions. So we've been here as Texans in different names through the different flags, but always still Texans. Whether you call yourself a Texian or a Tejano or a Texan, we were all still Texans. And so as long as we don't start to get into the politics of divisiveness, which is the way to keep us weak, we have to remain strong, as our national motto says, E pluribus unum, out of many one, and remember that we're one nation under God, and to conduct our business and to run our governance in that fashion, where we serve everyone and we meet the needs that make our nation and our state great, to provide for the strong pillars of our civilization and our American way. And as long as we continue to do that in our actions, in our politics, and the way we conduct our lives, I think that we can disregard the knuckleheads of all varieties who tried to divide us, who tried to make things a racial thing, and let's talk about making this an American thing. Amen. And to make it a Texas thing.
Yeah. Amen.
Well said.
Well said. You know, I want to add to that. I also was raised with strong conservative values, but my father always voted Democrat. And I remember a family member of mine telling me, Mayra, do you actually know what you're voting for? And this was back in 2010. And she also came to me in a very respectful way. She's like, I'm just confused because we were raised the same way. And I'm conservative, and I know you are. And I said, yes, I'm conservative. She's like, well, can you do some research? Once I did some research, I realized I was voting against everything I stood for.
That's right.
So it is so important that we talk amongst each other. And I started educating my family as well and convincing my family to vote conservative. My dad hated it, by the way. He hated it, but in 2020, he saw the light. So he's a strong conservative. He always has been. He just didn't know it. He just didn't know it. We know that Hispanics are traditionally conservative by nature, and we have seen it in the beginning of we have seen a political shift amongst the Texas Hispanic community. But why the change now? From your perspective in your districts, what do you attribute this to? Has this been driven by the political party, or is it a movement that is something more organic, or a type of self-generated by realization, like myself?
I'll start that one since, folks, it's like what my experience is, again, when I had 19 and now in the new District 24, but since we're specifically speaking of from the Hispanic community and what's going on in our world, when we have our basic values that we're brought up with, and they are constantly being attacked, as the congressman said earlier, by the different, especially the far left and the media, but all of us at some point we have to say, "Ya basta, that's enough."
That's enough.
And you know what? That's what not only all Texans are saying of all races and creeds, but especially when you attack family and you attack faith and you attack our nation and you're making our communities insecure and going after the very fabric that made us great. The reason, in my humble opinion, why you're seeing that shift towards more of a Republican Party is, ya basta, we had enough. Stop pushing, and we're going to push back. And that's what's happening, is that the identification, if we continue to provide for a good quality of life and a good product, that all these things are better under Republican governance, and that we stand for what makes our country great, then folks will come to us, that we be with us, because us is what we're all about. And so my mom, God rest her soul, she couldn't understand when I was running as a Republican. She said, "Well, you're running as a Republican, we're Democrats, but you want to run as a Republican, God bless you, have at it, but she couldn't understand. But my mom and a number of folks of her generation and in the local politics, their Democrat ideology was of John Kennedy, who would probably be considered a conservative Republican nowadays, according to the left. But to her, it was that type. I said, well, when they discover that the ideology is part of the left and almost pretty near communist, it's not that. And you say, but as the representative said earlier, you don't go over there and preach, you don't go over there and it's mightier than thou, but rather you say, we are you and you are us, and we're together in this. And you know what? That's enough. We're going to stand and fight for what made us great. And this is the way we're going to do it. Move forward together.
Amen. Amen.
And I agree, because I had the same upbringing. Henry B. Gonzalez was like, he walked on water, right? In our family, we had his picture. I remember my granddad had an old truck, and he had the speaker, and we go up and down the blocks in these colonias in San Antonio and just preaching for Henry B. I was passing, I didn't even know Henry B. I was a little kid, and we just did that, right? And we just grew up in that mindset. But as the party has moved so far left, and then on our fault, we got to be careful, because some of the rights that gets too far right, that is counterproductive to bring in the folks over. My district, I said I was the first Republican to ever win my district. It's favorable for a Democrat in my district. I think the only reason why I did win it is because I live in the middle Democrat district. My mom's a principal, my dad's a minister. I have a Sunday school class. I run football leagues there. We care about the community. We have our values, and people see that. So they're willing to take that step over and say, I'm going to vote Republican. I say all that because that's our setting that we are today. So what's the call to action? The call to action, number one, and I'm just going to be real about it, we're going to have to support, especially when we find a good Hispanic candidate, it takes money. I didn't, you know, the thing why I didn't really want to run, because it was going to cost a lot of money, and I wasn't going to put that money out. And when I got a lot of people saying, hey, we're going to help support you, you talk about humbled, you know, just touched my heart that we raised, to win my race, we raised over $1 million on a House seat, which is ridiculous. And I'm thinking, man, I don't want people to waste money on me. I don't want people to, you know, if it's that, you know, I'm fine. And I don't need to be a state rep. I'm having fun in life. But people did invest, but it does make the change. So it showed me, I went from saying, man, it's really not worth it, to it is worth it, because, man, it's Texas, and it's a conservative movement, and we've got to be strong. Can you imagine my opponent would have been one of the first representatives to get married while he was still here, was going to use the House, you know, same-sex marriage. It was big for him to do that in the deal. Whether you're for that or not, doesn't matter. But I'm just saying, those are against my values. And so I'm thinking, man, that race is that important. We need to spend the money. We got to spend the money. I went from saying, I'm going to spend this much money to running. I said, okay, I better get up to this amount, because I really want to win. I see things through different lenses now that I'm here. And I share this with you because if you have that opportunity, you find that right candidate in a district, especially if it's in a Democrat district and now you have a Hispanic running, we need to jump on board and support them. Just as we support them, we got to be careful, because we can't be so far right that now we're going to punish them. I live in a Hispanic district, Speaker of the House. I'm going to give you an example, real world. Speaker of the House, Speaker Phelan, calls me and says, would you be one of my second nominations? He gets 4. Somebody's going to nominate him, he gets 4. I said, I'd be honored. I said I'd be honored, but I didn't want to, because because I was just nervous. I didn't want to get in front of the House and talk and all those people. But I did it, right? And a lot of people came to me, man, what a great job, good speech, you know, that's good. And then I get a call from my chief of staff. There's some ladies here very upset with you, Republicans. How dare you, go for the speaker. 146 votes for the speaker, 3 against the speaker. You want me to be against the speaker where I get nothing done in my district, I'm a horrible representative, and I'm a bad example. That's what you want? We got to be careful with that. So, and I'm kind of naive because it's my first session, but good things I lean on this guy heavy. Oh man, don't listen to him. He gives me a lot of good advice. I hear straight arrow and then I kind of filter it, but I'm mad because he's in that other Senate district, because I like you back when you were with us. We were together every day. But you hear those things, and we just got a level set. So we just have to be really smart. We have to invest in these races, and we have to know that the moment of time is today. I don't know when we're going to ever have an opportunity like this again. This message needs to be spread. Man, I look up to you, because we're the front face for all of this, and we need to make sure that we continue this movement and that it doesn't stop. In fact, we got to get there even faster.
And I'll just say really quick, because I know we're running out of time. But I can speak for South Texas. South Texas was just tired of what's going on with the federal government and inflation costs. We have a lot of hardworking people in the Valley, and they're very smart, they're very dedicated, they're small business owners, and inflation is affecting their pocket. And when they see it's affecting them personally in their pocket, and when their children are being affected also, then that's the time where they start seeing the reality. And I think that that's why a lot of people started voting Republican and leaving the Democrat Party, because the Democrat Party was just not representing who they are and their values, and it's hurting them. The policies that we have are hurting our people, especially when you have the low-income levels that we do in South Texas. And like they already said, the Senator and Representative Lujan, that we just have to keep standing up for those values. We have to stick together, and I wouldn't be here without all the support that I had as well when it comes to funding and the mentoring that we had from ART, Associated Republicans of Texas, and other groups like TPPF. So thank you so much for supporting the conservative movement, and we have to keep working together so we can keep getting more people into elected offices that represent our conservative values.
And I'll close with this. Hispanics, we're all Americans, and we care about the same issues. We care about the economy, inflation, border security, but it's so important that we focus on kitchen table issues that impact all of us. And right now, we're all hurting. Doesn't matter what side we're on. And this division amongst each other, it only weakens us as a country. So it's so important that we're able to come together and focus on the issues that we agree on. And again, I just wanted to take the time to thank all of you for all your support. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't because of you. Thank you for being the backbone of Texas. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you.